father's estate. She didn't expect a mansion. She expected a dusty cottage. But the house was a sprawling Gothic nightmare of dark wood and heavy velvet curtains. The tea among the locals was that her grandmother Eleanor hadn't spoken to a soul in 40 years. They whispered that she hadn't been alone in that house, even though she lived by herself. Lila moved in on a Tuesday. By Wednesday, she found it. In the back guest room, hidden behind a heavy wardrobe, was a floor-to-ceiling mirror. The frame was made of black iron, twisted into the shapes of dying vines. But the glass was different. It didn't reflect the room's dim light. It seemed to drink it. When Lila stood in front of it, her reflection looked perfect at first. But then she noticed her reflection's eyes. While Lila's eyes were brown, the reflection's eyes were a flat, bottomless black, and the reflection wasn't blinking at the same time she was. Chapter 2: The Silent Twin. Lila tried to cover the mirror with a sheet, but every morning she woke up, the sheet was neatly folded on the floor. She began to hear a sound at night, a soft rhythmic thump, 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 like a hand hitting glass from the other side. One night, Lila stayed awake. She sat in the guest room with a single candle. At midnight, the reflection didn't wait for her to move. It stepped forward until its face pressed against the surface of the glass. "Let me out, Lila," the reflection whispered. The voice didn't come from the room. It came from inside Lila's own head. "It's cold in here. It's so empty. We can swap. Just for an hour. You can rest." Lila reached out, mesmerized by the pale, perfect skin of the girl in the glass. Her fingers touched the surface. It wasn't cold like glass. It felt like warm, moving water. Her hand began to sink in. Suddenly, the reflection's smile stretched fists against the glass. Thump, thump, thump. The other Lila paused, looking through the small gap left by the wardrobe. She leaned in and whispered, "Grandmother stayed in there for 40 years, Lila. You'll get used to the dark. Eventually." The wardrobe slammed into place. The room went pitch black.